All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. We are here, as we always are on a Monday evening. Kind of lost my train of thought so early in the conversation. Oh no, it's all good. It's all good. I am Carmel Jean. I will be your host for this evening as we discuss how can mindset affect your health. And I just want to introduce ourselves. In case you don't already know, we are Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. We are real women having real conversation. And who are we? We are the Black Coffee ladies. We are the Black Coffee. Our lips drip with honey, and sometimes we got some grit, but we always have sass, class, and all that ass. So with that, I'm gonna turn the microphone over to you, Maisha. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Maisha, and I'm the Central Energy Alchemist. Happy to be here as part of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Dr. Jemecia.
Hey, y'all, I'm Dr. Jemecia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire. I'm also your intermittent fasting and mindset coach, YouTube influencer, speaker, author, all the things. And I'm happy to be here with Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Hey, y'all.
Hey, you guys. I am Shellie A. Carter, cross-licensed real estate professional with real estate banking and life insurance licenses. My company is Housing Ministry LLC, and in that space, I help make home ownership attainable and sustainable by doing home buyer education, battling foreclosure, and just for fun because somebody's got to pay the mortgage. I like to talk about monetizing the house because it's just fun to do. All right, Carmel.
Thank you for that. Thank you, ladies. And I am Carmel Jean. I am your health, wellness, fitness, and nutrition coach, guiding people on a journey to a whole food, plant-based, vegan, and fit lifestyle in order to combat food and sugar addiction and the chronic conditions that come along with that. So with that said, this evening we're talking about how our mindset can actually keep us from our health. And sometimes it's something so subtle and something that we don't even think about. We think about the foods that we eat, and we think about how much exercise that we're doing, but oh my goodness, why am I not as healthy as I need or want to be? But we're not thinking about the fact that, our mindset and the way we view food and even our relationship to food, so many aspects play a part in our overall health and wellness. And it does not necessarily just have to do with how much we eat and how much we move, or how little we eat and how little we move. And a lot of it has to do with mindset shifts. Our behaviors will never change until our mindset is shifted, until we look at things in a different way. So often, if you turn your nose up at a certain way, a certain lifestyle, basically you won't give yourself the opportunity to enjoy the benefits that come along with that lifestyle. And again, I'm always talking that health has so much more to do than our food and our exercise. It's who we surrounding ourselves with, right? The toxins that we put on our skin or that we consume via drinking or eating, right? How much sleep do we get? How much stress are we finding in the workplace or even at home? And oftentimes we don't even think those things count. It's like, you mean I'm not losing 10 pounds because I'm stressed? What? Like, that doesn't even make sense to people. Another aspect of it is the education piece, knowing what affects our health in good ways and in bad ways. And as soon as we start to educate ourselves, as soon as we start to clean those things up, everything tends to fall into place. And I'm even talking about trauma. I was talking to somebody today. She looks amazing. She exercises all the time and she eats well, but she's always exercising and always eating she's always consumed, rather. She's very obsessed with what she eats simply because she's really running away from trauma. And she's come to realize that about herself. And at this juncture, it's for her to find the necessary help. But before that, there was a mindset there. I got to look a certain way. My scale has to read a certain number in order for me to be happy and healthy. And when she reached that point, she realized that that's all now people were recognizing her for, and that didn't make her happy. Mm-hmm. So she knew that something still has to shift. So I'm glad that she realized that. But how many of us are still like walking around in the dark? And I want to open it up to the group here, with regards to our mindset shifts. And there are other things that play a factor. I just did a Facebook Live, and I mentioned a few of them there. And for us to touch upon, I'm gonna mention one: the fact that people think that they're healthy simply because they have not received a diagnosis. And that was me. I was walking around here eating all the sugar that I wanted, and said, "Oh, but I want some coffee. Oh, but my protein bars." No, no, sweetie, they're candy bars, and the label on there just says protein. That's all that was. And I just walked around thinking that, you know what? I proclaimed it. I practically bragged about it because I didn't look much different than I do now. So I was like, yeah, I'm addicted to sugar. Ooh, ooh, doo-doo-doo. Until I got a diagnosis. And then my mindset shifted completely. But why would we wait till our backs are against the wall? Sometimes it's just not realistic. It's things that we say a couple of things that are a little bit contradictory. Number one, we think that it would never happen to us. And number two, when it does, oh, it runs in my family. That's another mindset. We got to get out of that mindset idea that it runs in my family, instead of saying it runs in my family, so I'm going to make sure it stops here. Right. Mm-hmm. So I want to open it up to you all. Whoever wants to go first, jump in and chime in and talk about mindset and how it's keeping us from our health and how it affects our health.
Look, it's a serious thing, right?
That's tough.
I mean, I feel that if we're thinking in terms of, and I say this a lot when I'm talking to people about intermittent fasting, like if we're thinking that I'm depriving myself from something, then it feels like punishment, right? If you say, I am doing this for my health, I'm doing this so I can live longer, be healthier, then that's a whole different shift as to how you approach life and what you do, not just with food, but anything. The people you're around, the job you have, the things you do for you, all of that, right? No matter how you go about life, if you're not thinking in a positive way, if you're not thinking or putting a different spin on something, then you're not going to stick with anything. Now, for me, like for when I doing no added sugar, girl, I was like, I'm just gonna do this because she says this works, and you know, I drink too much soda or whatever. So I've done it, and it's like, wow, I would have never experienced not waking up in the morning in pain. Get out of bed and just walk and not limp getting out of bed. So now I have a different education because I've tried something different. So now when I go to choose that soda, I remember the pain too, though. So I'm saying my mindset is forever changed because I know something different now. And even though I know what sugar does to the body, I know the inflammation, but it's different when you actually try it out.
And that's a big reason why the mindset is such a huge factor in it, right? Because a lot of us kind of know like too much sugar is not good, but until we experience it and we feel that pain, and then how about all the low grade pain that we are feeling day in and day out? And once we feel alleviated from it, and it's kind of like, I can feel this good. I can feel this good. Yeah. So I like what you said, Dr. Jemecia, especially that deprivation piece, where, you know, we feel like we're being punished. Like, I'm not going to punish myself. I like what I like. So I'm not going to deprive myself of what I like. And that mindset piece can be very detrimental to our health and our health and fitness goals. Yeah. So thanks for that. Yeah. Seriously.
I'll chime in and say, for me, it was just looking at myself in the mirror, knowing that I was not feeling like myself, knowing I would tell people that I always thought having a nervous breakdown was the people coming for you in a white coat, and that apparently Like that comes in a lot of different versions. And I could see my grieving for the multiple things I was grieving over. I could see it on my face, on my body, in my belly. I'm seeing my family be sick. I'm feeling myself saying, okay, I'm not happy or satisfied or any combination. And just saying, okay, what are you going to do about it? And a lot of the talking, a lot of being around different people, a lot of making a decision that I'm not accepting this for myself. And the process has been slow. It's been very slow. It hasn't been, okay, I'm going to fix my life now and I'm better. And that sounds really wonderful, but it's been super slow and painful and full of flip-flopping. Or well, maybe if I could just fix just this one thing, and if she didn't do this, I could, like, no. So I've had to really reflect and ask myself, what is it that I want? What feels good? And for me, the mindset was just prioritizing myself, because I made the excuse, okay, you see it. I know I see it, you see it, we see each other, right? Okay. As soon as I get the boy in school, as soon as I get mom out of the nursing home, as soon as as soon as fill in the blank, I'll focus on myself. And someone said, so you might not wake up tomorrow. You keep doing what you're doing, but these people you busy, doting on gonna be here, you won't be here. So make a decision. So I will say that is a little self-discovery, a little honesty, mixed with some tough love, and people being honest with me being honest with myself, and being willing to work through it. Now, you said, Carmel, yesterday, I'm not shy. I can be, but right now I'm just very comfortable saying whatever I feel like saying.
You're
Because
just to that point. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, yeah, I feel like I have the senior mouth. Like I'm over 50. I'm officially over 50. I'm at 55. I am now legally allowed to say whatever TF I want to say. I don't, and I said WTF because that's what I feel like saying, because I don't want this to have to get edited. But when I started having more honest conversations about myself, about what I wanted and what I would accept, that was the start of me making changes. I really started realizing that I was accepting the crap. And there's videos going around saying, people will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. People will treat you the way you treat yourself. When I realized I wasn't treating myself well, I was like, oh yeah, no, we gotta fix this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just saying, I love what Triple J said here. The process is long, but it needs to be.
Right. That part. And I wrote it down too. The process has been slow. So thanks, Triple J. And that process is slow, but you getting to a point where you came to realize that things need to change, that was slow too. That didn't happen overnight. Right. And so we've been fed from this diet culture. We've been fed that, 30 days to the new you, right?
30, 21.
How about it? How about it? 21 days and change your habits and get a new body, the body you've always wanted. Wait, what? It took me umpteen years to get here, and you're promising me something completely different in 30 days. So that's another mindset shift. So thank you for that. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to bring up. Maisha, did you have something to say?
Yeah, and I come from a different perspective than I think a lot of folks do, just because I look at it as a holistic and a spiritual perspective. So I don't look at the mindset shift. And I think when people think health, they're always only thinking food. But health is so much more than that. Food is part of your health, but it's not your health. So when I think about people changing their lives, because that's really what we're talking about, is people changing their lives. And I think about what Shellie said about fixing. and this idea that we need to fix ourselves because something is wrong with us. I'm always interested in people accepting who they are, where they are, understanding their journey, understanding their traumas or adverse experiences. And from there, other things naturally begin to change. So your food, and this is it, the reason why this is important is because this is not true for everybody. Some people need to work with the food first, and then they start to feel better about themselves. And I'm interested in people feeling better about themselves. And then from that point, your food naturally changes. When you love yourself, you don't want to eat a certain way, but people will try and eat a certain way and still, to Carmel's point, not love themselves. Right. So I'm interested in, are you to the place where you can put yourself, to Shelley's point, as the priority? Can you see how important it is for you to choose a lifestyle that allows for health in your body, your mind, your spirituality, your relationships? Because it doesn't make any, you could be eating great, but if your relationships are crappy, you're still under stress, which means you're still going to develop some type of ailment, because stress is the underlying factor for all of it. So if you're going to choose your food carefully, well, choose your people carefully, choose your jobs carefully, choose, your surroundings carefully. I just see it as all encompassing when we talk about health, and I look at it from the root issue up in terms of people shifting their lives.
Yeah,
Like, I
and
love.
I like that.
Go ahead.
no,
Go ahead,
I was
Jemecia.
no, I was just gonna say, and to Maisha's point, when she talked about the stress piece and all that, we often say something like, and I've done it. Well, I'm stressed out, so I'm gonna treat myself to make
Right.
I'm gonna treat
Right.
myself to a Coke and fries. I'm good at that. I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? I've had a rough day.
Right.
But
And
then
see, and
right.
go ahead.
So then I wake up the next day and I'm like, my pain is back already. Like what?
Yeah.
Right. And see, I do that. And I know I'm going to do that, but I'm
Yeah.
not angry at myself for doing it. Right.
Yes.
I won't beat myself up for doing it. I
Mhm.
understand. So one of the interesting things is that for some people, hence the addiction to anything, that it fills in a need that their biology can't fulfill. So if I have endured certain things and my body has now learned to respond, the neurotransmitters, the chemicals have learned to respond. I'm looking for that food, not so much necessarily because I'm addicted to it, while that may be part of it, but it's also because my body isn't able to regulate itself. So I need that food to help me regulate whatever is going on inside of me. I'm aware of that with certain things with myself. And I'm aware in that moment, I don't have any regulation tools. Now, the goal then is for me to figure out, how can I regulate myself better? So when I'm stressed, I don't reach for that thing, but I'm not gonna not reach for it if I feel like I need to stabilize. And I'm not gonna beat myself up for reaching for it either and be like, God, I can't believe I did that again. That just makes it worse. I'm gonna go, well, you did that again. Let's look at how you can handle it better next time.
Yeah.
That's
And
a
you have
certain
the
level.
knowledge. Right. A certain level, right? She has
That's
the
a certain
knowledge.
level of knowledge and
Yes.
emotional
Regulate. Yeah.
intelligence that the majority of people don't have out there, Maisha.
Right.
So God bless you, hail and everything. And girl, not everybody
Seriously
comes
though.
like that.
Seriously.
But
That-
No,
And
no, because
Maisha,
it happens. It happens here with my kids. And we talk about it. But yeah, for sure. And I'm like, really though, like really, y'all? And they're like, listen, I need this right now. And I'm like, okay, but I just want you to really think about it.
yeah, and you know what? It goes.
We talk to ourselves in so many different ways, and we have to learn to listen to what a trigger is, what a response is. And I really don't think we can ignore the mental part, whether it's obvious to us or it's something subliminal. I used to break out in hives every time I was around someone at the end of our relationship, and I didn't even notice it. He noticed. He noticed it, He said, you're itching, you're scratching every time I'm around. And I started taking note, and I'm like, oh shoot, I'm at peace in your absence, and your very presence literally gives me a physical response. And it's the listening. It's the universe is always talking to us. Are we listening? That pain, I drank a Coke. I didn't drink a Coke. There. I know that if I eat ice cream, I know my face is gonna break out. So, we have to listen to ourselves in so many different ways. We listen to our cars, but we don't listen to our bodies. We don't listen to our heart.
Yep.
That.
And there's so many ways, and I've made the analogy before that like if you so I like boys with accents, and sometimes they don't speak English. So when we're together, I have to understand, like making sure that, all right, is this what we're doing? And we have to learn to read each other, because I'm not doing sign language in another language either, right? So we have to learn how to read each other and understand what we're trying to say to each other, understand the vibe and the feeling, and there's a certain connection that's involved, and we've lost that connection with our inner being, right? We were born with it. When something hurt, we cried, and we cried until we had language. And then what did mom say? Stop crying and use your words. Or then stop crying altogether. There's nothing to cry about. So we've lost a connection with what our inner being is. We've suppressed it. I'm hungry, mom. You're not hungry. It's too soon.
Right.
Or I'm not hungry, mom. You're gonna eat anyway.
Right.
So we've lost the connection. We've learned to muffle it or quiet it down or not trust it, because the people that love us in our lives told us that that's false. Whatever your body's telling you is false. Right. And so it's about reconnecting and understanding that our body is speaking this language that we once knew how to understand, but now we have to relearn it again. And we do have to pay attention and stop and reflect. And oftentimes when one of my clients come to me and says, well, Carmel, I did something that I didn't want to do last weekend. I had pizza or whatever it is. I often ask, well, what did you feel before, during, and after? How did you talk to yourself? And what was the conclusion? And let's deal with that. Never mind the pizza.
Right.
Let's talk about what was going through your heart, mind, and soul before, during, and after. And I think that's a huge part of that connection that we've lost.
All of everything that you said, like everything that you said is just, and it took me, because it took me back to when I was younger, and I was like, I would say it was probably the height of my body dysmorphia, because I was like between 18 and 21. And I was definitely controlling my food in an effort to control everything else. Right. And so it wasn't all it. And here's the thing, working out and eating right, you can get away with it for so long when you're trying to hide, because everybody applauds you. They think, oh my God, this is so wonderful. Your body looks so great. No one stopped and was like, Maisha, you really just going to eat like that asparagus and that little piece of turkey breast? You are already 150 pounds. Like, nobody was like, Maisha, you need to work out twice a day for that long. It's applauded because this is what everybody wants to do in society. But I was doing that, and I was so, and it's probably why I am the way I am with food and people now, because my experience was, it's to Carmel's point about the woman she knew, I was trying to control. It was the only thing I could control. So I'm going to control my food, and I'm going to control it to the point where it is just detrimental to my mental health, because it wasn't because I loved myself so much that I was working out. It was because I felt so inadequate. I felt so weak. I felt so foolish, and I didn't want to pay attention to any of that. So whereas there are people who will overeat to hide those feelings, and then we look at them and go, I can clearly see that you've got a problem. There's also a problem with people who have to control their food and have to work out so much because they can also too be dealing with the same issues that the person who's eating all of the Oreos can. It just doesn't look like it because it looks healthy.
Oh,
Yeah,
And that was me.
100%.
and mindset too. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's all
that was me. You know,
Yes.
and it was what Carmel said, is getting back into your body was what did it for me, and acknowledging the feelings that I was trying to run away from. Same thing with people who are eating too much or eating unhealthy. They're generally feelings that someone is trying to run away from, and the food gives the comfort so they don't have to feel what's happening in their body. It's not always about changing. What I just made this analogy to today, because people talk about mindset, but they leave out the body. So if you had an experience where you were younger and you went to speak in front of your class, and and something happened and you felt humiliated, and that feeling got stuck in you, and you get older and you want to be a public speaker and you're doing all this mindset work and you're saying all your affirmations, and you get in front of a crowd, but you have the hugest anxiety attack. You don't understand why, because you've done the mindset work. It's because the feelings are still trapped in your body. It's just now coming out a different way. So now you've got an anxiety attack, or you're dealing with depression because you didn't deal with the stuff. It's still stuck there. And I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to health and other things, we are dressing the house nicely, but we're actually not dealing with fixing the foundation. And so the food addiction will leave the food and it'll go to something else, right? It's like an itch that still needs to be scratched. So now I'm eating healthy, but I'm binging on social media. I'm eating healthy, but my relationships look different. The issue wasn't solved. It's just moved to something else.
Yes.
And furthermore, the justifications that we give for it, the, oh no, I'm okay, like everything is just justified. And on top of that, we give these justifications, like you said, Maisha, everybody's applauding you for what you look like or what you've been able to do, and further along, reinforcing that behavior. So that could be even another sort of dopamine hit. And it's kind of like, okay, I must be doing the right thing because
I can fit into a size small in a Gap. I'm 5'11". I have no business fitting into a small from the Gap. You know how small I have to be for that? And there are people who are like, oh my God, that would be amazing. It wasn't healthy. Right. But yeah, there was definitely that. I can wear that. No, yeah. Gotta let that go.
Yeah.
There's so much in all of the conversation though, and I'm glad that we're having it, because whether someone says you're too big or someone says you're too small, or first of all, this conversation just keeps coming up. Stop listening to all the other voices, first of all, and find out what healthy is for you.
That's it.
And just be it. And I think I've told you guys before, but I'll say it here. My spouse is slim and I'm not. We go to the doctor, we do all the tests, we're getting our checkup as a couple. And he comes back pre-diabetic and I come back fit as a fiddle. And now the thing that is harmful is when we're talking, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it, and the truth hurts, and all those nice words. But because I sit down and say, so the skinny one is not healthy, and the bigger one isn't. He goes, yeah, well, obesity is not a factor for deciding this, and it's just so like, oh, God, that just like, damn, that we're hearing these harsh voices. And I'm going to say, I had to remember not to take it personally. That's the term. It's called being obese. I'm obese. He's not trying to hurt your feelings. He's not trying to do nothing. He's using the language. And if we're letting people say things, and we're letting all of these voices send us to, well, he already see the man calling me obese. Well, if I'm fat, I may as well go get a pint of ice cream and a spoon. What does it matter? I'm fat already. That's not the move.
It's
That's
not, and we don't have to make those words ugly words like skinny, obese. There's this idea, like this body size is a correlation, not necessarily a causation, and people need to understand the difference and understand what healthy actually is, and that it looks different for different people. So there are people who are always going to be large. They're never going to be small. And it's not because they overeat. It's just that's how their bodies are. Right.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like we have this idea that there's one standard, and don't get me started on how that's really European standard. And don't get me started how we actually use white men to determine what is normal in the medical community. They do not look at Black women's bodies. They do not look at Black people. The standard patient is a white male who was in his 40s. Right. So these words don't have to be ugly words, but the question then becomes, right, what does your health look like? What is your blood pressure? What is your cholesterol? What, all of those are the factors that people need to be looking at. And do you feel good? Do your joints hurt? Right? Do you feel good in your body? Because I've seen some hefty people who love their bodies and feel amazing. And I've seen some slender folk who are constantly berating themselves all the time.
Yeah. And for those of us who are mothers, if we don't feel good about ourselves, how in God's name are we going to have our babies feel good about themselves? We're telling them, oh, baby, you're beautiful. Don't let them tease you. There's nothing wrong with you. But we don't believe that for ourselves.
That's right. And my daughter reminds me often. She reminds me.
Okay. Yeah.
That piece about, what does what's healthy to you. When I first started CFIT coaching, that was my tagline. I want to see your fit. Like, what does fit look like for you? And let's get you there in a healthy way. That's what I used to always say.
Yes.
Because that's so important, right? Because I look the way I do, but I always say I'm built like a 12-year-old girl, right? And Black women don't want to look like that. They're like, no, I want to keep my hips, right, Dr. J, right? Like they're like, no, I don't want to get rid of this. I don't want to get rid of this. And so I came to realize and understand. And I got to tell you, like in high school, I was just like, well, where's the ass that I was promised as a Black woman? Like, what happened to it? So I'm like, listen.
We all don't get that lucky. I will tell you right now. I'm telling you, I think I said it before. I say it again. When my boyfriend from when I was younger came back and saw me when I came back to New York, he was like, "Where did that come from? That was not there before." I was like, "Okay, well, it must have been the children, because no, there was nothing happening. I was just not gifted."
Not me. I always had curves.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
She's like, okay, just so that we're clear.
I like my sugar because my sugar gave me my poofy things. But other than that, I woke up on 13 with a little waist and a big butt. Like I had shape, and then everything just like overnight. I went to sleep and it was just like, hello, little Black girl. And we're shaped how we shape. But I like what Victoria was saying. She said, right, are you healthy? In Kenya, big was prestigious. Wow, I can't read. I had a rough time in high school, and gosh, it was rough. Yeah.
Girl, I know you're
high school is just rough, period. Like,
never mind,
add the cultural pieces onto that, right?
Right. And like being torn, like, okay, these dudes like me, and these dudes are like, oh baby, we gotta get some meat on them bones.
Right.
And I'm just kind of like, oh man, like, what now?
Did we all go to mixed schools? Did we go to Black schools? Did we go to white schools? You were mixed. What about you, Dr. J?
White and Black. It was mainly mixed. I'm mainly good mix, but mostly white.
Well,
yeah, I was white.
Mine was on and off. It was Black, then it was white,
then
it was Black, and then it was white. Yeah.
I asked because we're talking about that mindset. And every now and then when I'm moving through, I look at my prom picture, and that, and which the dress is in the other room, which my leg fits in so nicely.
She said my leg.
and and I have one leg and one arm, fits wonderfully, looks great from one side. And but that little girl thought she was fat.
Yeah.
And that constant beating from an early age, I really don't know how my mindset couldn't have gotten twisted with so many influences from so many people. It's like, and I literally have these conversations with, as you guys know, my very healthy little boy who's in the same grade with children who look to be 2/3 his size, some half his size, and they're the same age. And it's like, maybe there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
Maybe we could tweak a few things, but no matter what mommy does, no matter what you do, you are going to be thicker. And that's how look at your daddy. He changed the height, he's shaped like his daddy. So look at your daddy and look at yourself. That means nothing's wrong. Don't look at them. Look at your family.
It's
And
hard.
understand this is what your family looks like. And it's hard. It's hard getting that in his head. And right here at this young age, he's about to be 9 in a few days, and he's already thinking, I'm too big.
Oh, see, I think it's beautiful that he has that in, like, that he has that in you, Shellie, that you are whispering in his ear that everything, that he's okay. And growing up, being a twin, you're already compared. You're already compared. Everything you do, say, how you look. And ever since I'm little, I remember hearing that I was the fat twin, or I was the chubby one, I was the bigger one, and nobody whispered in my ear that I was okay. I remember hearing my aunt tell my mother to put me on a diet. I didn't even hit puberty yet. I was a baby. And I feel like, first of all, I feel like everybody should have a therapist, some professional, mental therapist, mental professional. But I feel like there's probably trauma stuck in me somewhere, and that's why maybe I hit the fitness so hard, because I remember when I started slimming down, and everybody all of a sudden was giving me this glory, and I was like, ooh, I like this attention.
Yeah.
And then, and listen, Carmel was born. So I feel like
I want to see a picture of you when you were younger. We're gonna look at that picture and be like, you have got to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But that's the thing, right? I was never fat, never near it.
Never.
No, I can't even see it.
The comparison between me and another person.
Yeah, you're
the whole 7 pound difference.
Right. And that's what did it. And
yeah, and that's important.
Mm-hmm.
No, because that really affects a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it really does.
Comparison, right? Comparison to society. Comparison to Caucasian women. Comparison to whatever. It gets in your mindset.
It really does. When I looked in the mirror, I saw the chubby girl. I saw her.
And it takes a lot of reworking of that, you guys. Even though we may think we're completely over it, again, until we come into a situation, it's like, ooh, I still need to deal with this. I still need to work on my mindset. I do.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Well,
it still happens to me, and like I said, my daughter will catch me on it, and it doesn't happen as much as it used to, but it's almost impossible to escape it in this society, to not look at your body. And then let's not add on aging to the mix, right? Because my body's doing what it's supposed to do, but society's looking at me like, ugh. And it's like, but my body's doing what it's supposed to be doing right now.
But Maisha, I want to tiptoe into your lane, because I want to know how Mr. Whoever, because I know this is widespread. I'm feeling my menopause. I'm feeling my poor diet. I'm feeling my extra pounds, and you want me to get naked? Who wants to get naked when you feel like a whale, and he purchased the stallion, but now you've turned into a whale? You don't feel sexy. And that's something that's got to get into the mindset, because I know I have had men who only like that big girl,
Mm-hmm.
and or that true die hard till death do you part. Like, baby, we gonna go through this and change through this together. But he don't care if you are 100 pounds lighter or 100 pounds heavier. Don't touch my woman, that's mine. And sometimes we got someone who will go to Pound Town for us, and but we're so busy in our own head and our own mindset that we don't even engage in a healthy relationship because we're in our own head. And I say
Yep.
all of that because Carmel said we need, some of us just, therapy is good, and we do. We need the therapist, we need the voices, we need these nasty seeming conversation pieces, because I know a couple people, and I have had my moments, but I've heard the conversation over and over again. Yeah, it's we're saying he doesn't want me, but it's you don't want you. You're looking at yourself and you're not liking you.
Mm.
So you've
Right.
decided that don't nobody else like you.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah. So
that part.
tell them come see me. No, and
That's
in the
right.
meantime, in the meantime, yes, that does require a shift. And I my first boyfriend, I broke up with him because I thought I was too fat.
Mm.
Right.
Wow.
For him, I thought he
Mm.
wanted someone smaller. I done already told y'all I was, and y'all have seen me in person. I done already told you I was 150 pounds.
Mm.
Okay. So I even, and he was like, what are you talking about? But I had decided in my mind that he deserved someone better. And so we do that as women. We are harder on ourselves than anyone else. That's a whole nother conversation, because the reason that we are harder on ourselves as Black women is because they like to keep us there, because that way we can stay not in our power and we can just be stressed out and die early. But that's a whole nother issue. What I will tell women is it's not about you being a whale, because you're not. And it's about enjoying your body. Just the fact that you are alive and you have this body. I'm telling you, the man who's been with you for years and he's still loving you for years is still gonna rub up all on them stretch marks and the skin that is changing, because he still sees you anyway as the woman that he first met. So he's not going anywhere. Let him love on you.
Let him love on you. And as we wrap up, I wanted to give this last one of this piece as well. Our bodies, the way we look, the way we do, based on based on what we've eaten, based on our journeys, based on how many children we had, and whether or not we do have stress marks. Put the weight on, took the weight off. We look the way we do simply because our body literally loves us. And our bodies internally, the way we are shaped, the way we are built, is because our body wants to see us well. So every pocket of fat is our body saying, I'm trying to protect you from all the ailments and toxins outside our environment here. So it's for us to say, ooh, rolls and whatever, and anything that I love you too. And I know you no longer serve me, and release it. So it's a good thing for us to practice, to just know and understand that we look the way we do because internally our bodies are protecting us and they love us and they want to see us well.
I love that you said that, Carmel, about I love you and I release you. That is really key. It's there's this way in which we've been taught to hate something and want to get rid of it, versus to love it so that it is let go. And it's actually easier and goes so much smoother when we're working out and saying, I love you, I'm going to release you, versus I hate my body, let me get these pounds off. It doesn't work that well that way.
It feels so different. It just
Yeah.
it feels so different.
Yeah.
It's mindset for sure.
It's mindset. And so many, like the way I opened it up, we don't think about, for the most part, generally. Victoria says that's so good to view our bodies that way, Carmela. It's Carmel. And any other way is to dishonor. It was probably the type, like the phone.
Spell check. Yeah.
Yes, spell check. Any other way is to dishonor the vessel that allows to experience life in all of its glory. Gosh, that was good.
Yes, it
Yes,
is.
Victoria, that was good too. Thank you for that. Woo. This was such a good conversation.
It was.
This is such a good conversation.
Yes.
Mindset has
Yes.
everything to do with the way we feel, with the way we look, with the way we view our health. So consider that next time you pick up anything to eat, to drink, when you pick the people that you choose to be around, right? When you pick the environments and the work environment, you get a choice in all of those. Does
Yep.
it serve me or does it not serve me? And then
You're
make
right.
your decision accordingly.
Yeah, she said
Ladies.
spell check. She said, I'm so sorry.
Oh, you're good.
That autocorrect is does its own thing. But
Yeah.
I like it. We get to be in charge. So I love the conversation. We get to be in charge.
Yeah, so let's just sign out and let the people remind the folks who we are. And we are Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits. Ladies, we are the coffee. And our lips drip with honey, and sometimes we got some grit, but we have Sass Class and all that ass. And we're here trying to bring meaningful conversations and tips and tricks that hopefully you can listen to and adhere to and apply in your lives. And we just try to bring a little bit positivity, but in a very, very realistic fashion. So I'm going to just sign out by saying I'm Carmel Jean, whole food, plant-based, fitness, and vegan coach. Maisha?
I am Maisha. I am the Sensual Energy Alchemist. I am an intimacy coach, teacher of sex magic, and I love this conversation.
And I'm Dr. Jemecia, the nurse practitioner extraordinaire, and I'm your intermittent fasting and mindset coach. And I love this conversation too. And you guys, check us out November 10th. We will be having a workshop. We want you to be there in New Jersey, and we'll go on our website, get your ticket. Shellie?
I am Shellie A. Carter out of New Jersey. I will be hosting our event. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there. I am cross-licensed real estate banking and life insurance. For all of the giggles, I like talking about monetizing life. So when you come in, I will be talking about something that has to do with one of my licenses or some way, some idea on how to monetize life. And if you want to know more and get involved and be a part of our think tanks and masterminds, please join our mailing list. Let us get you little bits of us on a regular basis. Be a part of our community. Get into our Facebook group. And yes, when we have events, reach on out to us. We will very soon be sharing, hotel information and greater details about what you can expect when you become a part of Black Coffee, Honey, and Grits.
Oh, speaking of becoming, don't forget to join our Facebook group. We have a Facebook community. Click the link there.
We do.
Yes.
Okay, yes. And you heard it. November 10th is our workshop. What did we call it? We call it
Grits and Grace.
Grits and Grace.
Grits and
Grace, because hey, it might get a little bit of gritty, get a little gritty, but it's gonna be a lot of grace in that room.
Very much. So find out a little bit more about it. Yes, 100%. So find out a little bit more about it, and thanks for hanging out with us tonight, y'all. So with that, I think we're good. We'll see you same time, same place, Wednesday evening.
Wednesday evening, 6:30. Bye.
Ciao.